There are two extremely important deadlines when you're doing a deferred exchange. The first is the 45-day identification period. It commences the day after the closing of the relinquished property. So when does the closing of the relinquished property occur? It's when the benefits and burdens of ownership shift. When that deed crosses over to the buyer and the consideration or sales proceeds come across the table to the seller, that's when the benefits and burdens of ownership shift. And that's day zero for computing a 45-day identification period. By midnight of that 45th day, you need to have sent your identification in writing to the intermediary or to another party to the transaction that's not a disqualified person. Typically, people send the identification to the intermediary, but in theory, you could send it to other people, such as the seller of the replacement property, unless they're related to you or otherwise disqualified. Now, the other important deadline is the 180-day exchange period. You only have 180 days to receive your replacement property, and again, that clock runs concurrently from the day after closing of the relinquished property. There's a big curveball, though, with regard to the 180-day deadline, because the IRS is impatient. They don't want to wait until your subsequent tax return to see how this story unfolds. They say, we'll give you 180 days to complete your exchange, but if the due date for the filing of your federal income tax return pops up within that 180 days, they shorten down the exchange period to the due date of the filing of your tax return. Well, if you start your exchange, say in December, and you have to file your tax return on April 15th, you're not going to get your full 180 days. There's an easy fix, though. You simply ask for an extension on your federal filing deadline and move your filing deadline out to October 15th, for example. Now that extends the tax filing period, but does not lengthen your exchange period. Your exchange period is still a maximum of 180 days. During that time frame, you've got to receive the benefits and burdens and ownership of your new replacement property.